is the moment, tonight is the night.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. It's Crypto Analysis coming at you with an update video on Bitcoin. So today we need to talk about Bitcoin because what's happening right now on the charts is massive. And honestly, it's something that we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. So we're just kind of in the waiting room. If you guys haven't checked out my other Bitcoin videos, please go check them out. And then that way you can get caught up and we can kind of keep the flow going with the information that we're looking at least I'm looking at in terms of the charts and the price actions right now. Bitcoin is officially broken down from the top of the range, and the daily chart is showing one of the cleanest setups we've had. We did get a clear bounce from 83,000 supports, so that's exactly what we've been waiting for. Now, looking at the price right now, Bitcoin is sitting around 86,900, and you can see that the price has been struggling to get back over 91,000. The reason why that's important is because previously we said that this was key support. So we have 83 to 91,000 being support. So because this broke, I mean technically 83,000 broke too, but then we actually never ended up closing under it. We actually closed over it, and then now we're getting that reversal, which we said is highly likely because the RSI was extremely oversold on the daily. So now we're getting that curl up finally on the daily RSI. And this is exactly where we ended up buying some Bitcoin and accumulating $100 more or whatever, 0.001 more of Bitcoin. So if you haven't checked out that video, please go check out day 2 of becoming a Bitcoin maxi. I don't have that much, but obviously I'm not putting that much money in right now. Obviously we're going to be buying when we get these massive dips and when the price goes extremely lower, if we're in the bear market and we're no longer in the bull market. So yeah, I mean, the reason again why this is so important is because now you're coming back up and you're retesting 91,000 as resistance. So support flip resistance. So if it doesn't break this area, then what you're looking at is you're looking at a move back up to around 91,000, a strong rejection, and then coming back down and retesting 83 as support. Typically, I don't know if how much longer we're going to stay here. I don't know if we're going to bounce around here. The next area of support at that point would be 70,000, which we'll talk about at a later time in this video. Now, if we do get a clean bounce from 83,000 that pushes us through 91,000, I would say the next areas of resistance would be 95,000, 91, 95, and then 106. And then once 106 breaks, in my opinion, it does turn on the... It does intensify, or I don't know how to exactly say it. It is extremely probable and highly likely for our targets up here to get tagged, given the history and what it's been doing this entire bull run. So this entire bull run, we've laid up, overbought, came back, oversold, chopped around, lower lows, lower highs, and then a breakout to the upside. The next higher high, the next higher high. So the next higher high here with this perfect setup is 139 to 148,000. So that's where I think it's headed, given that we break 106. That'll be huge, man, because if that happens, then we're going to have really big move up on altcoins. Hopefully we have rotation and Bitcoin dominance dropping, price action going sideways, and then Ethereum and then altcoins going up. That's what I'm hoping for. But as of right now, we're not getting that yet because we're still trying to see, hey, are we going to get stuck in support and then capitulate even lower? Or are we about to turn bullish for the time being and start going up? And then we have to kind of measure, hey, how high up is it actually going to go before the next move down, right? So just keep in mind, we are under the EMAs right now. So we're under, on the daily, we're under the 94, 104, 109, and 109. So we're under the 20-day, 50-day, 100, and 200-day moving averages. They are coiling up right now. So I do think that if we go sideways, we are in for a big move up, another big move up, because technically, I mean, we already, from this dip and from our last video, we're already up, and we went up around 10%, which I know that might not sound like a lot, but I mean, we're talking about $8,000, like it went all the way down to 80, and now we're at 87, and it went all the way up to 88. So please understand that obviously traders are going to step in and take profits at 10%. That's a lot of money, right? Imagine putting 80,000 in and just a free $8,000, right? So we absolutely, for a continuation, we absolutely need to break 91,000. So now let's look at the supports I've mapped out. Support number one is 91,300 to 83,000, which we've been talking about for a couple weeks now. We've been sitting on this, okay? This is an immediate demand zone. Price is already broken into this. If Bitcoin loses 83,000 level, then things are going to get very interesting to the downside, because the support two, which is major support, and the next big one would be $70,000, and that's a really big capitulation. If this happens, alts are probably going to get hit minus 40%, because somehow Bitcoin goes down 20%, and you have altcoins going down 40%, which I had to deal with for the last 2 cycles since I've been in crypto in 2018. I finally learned my lesson, which is why now I'm starting to only buy Bitcoin. So please join me on my journey to accumulate 1 Bitcoin. And please subscribe and help support the channel and all that stuff. I would really greatly appreciate it. And yeah, if Bitcoin drops to the 70K region, that would be the next macro retest. I think that you might not want to hear this, but I would think that would solidify the fact that the bull run has ended, because every single time like we legged up, we never really came back down and retested it. I would say that if that's a retest, then you're probably going to break down even lower to like around the 50s, which does coincide perfectly with the weekly 200-day moving average. I think we're sitting around 55,000, but that's something that we could map out in the future. And if we do break below 83,000 and then 70,000, so we'll obviously get to that a little bit later in the future. Now, looking at the RSI on the daily chart, we are sitting around 30, which is the lowest RSI reading we've had since the last big correction years ago. Technically, yeah, because it's over here. So yeah, the last time that we had the RSI, which is the yellow band, this low was actually in August of 2023. And you can see that what happened here was you actually ended up marking a bottom, consolidated, and then and then the moving averages coiled up on the daily, and then we had this explosive move up, and then we never looked back. So I'm not saying that's going to necessarily happen now, because in a bear market, you're going to be making lower highs. But in a bull market, which is what we've been experiencing, RSI comes down, RSI goes up, you make higher highs and higher lows, which is why the structure looks perfect, right? You've just been in this upward channel this entire time since you put in the bottom in 2022. So do with that what you will with that information. I think that's good. At least I think that we are going to get that temporary move up. Now that temporary move up does need to break 91, 96, 100, 106,000. And then we could say, hey, wow, 139 and 148 is in play, and Bitcoin's still in a macro bull run. But that's what I think. So very important to note the RSI that it has been 2 years since it's been down here. And surprisingly, it's also August, right? So August, November, so a couple months off, but 2 years and a couple months. Here's the key. As long as Bitcoin stays over 83,000, we're still at the top of the structure. Lose 83,000 and price magnetizes directly towards 70K demand block. So basically, understand that historically Bitcoin always does a mid-cycle liquidity flush before sending it to new highs, which happened every single time this bull run. So you decide whether we're going to continue up, whether we're not. Me, it doesn't matter for me, because I'm no longer in altcoins. I'm only buying Bitcoin. So for me, it's a little bit easy, because when I see the daily RSIs on oversold, and especially when we look at the weekly RSIs, and when the weekly RSI is extremely oversold, these are areas where I'm going to be dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin regardless of the price. So regardless of how high the price is, these do mark local bottoms. So I'm going to be taking advantage of that and trying to get to 1 Bitcoin that way. Okay. So you decide, are we going to break? Are we going to go back down to the lows? For me, it doesn't matter. But yeah. So basically nothing in my opinion, this is exactly what I'm doing. Nothing to buy yet because we are curling up on the RSI and I already bought the dip with like only 75 or $80, whatever it was. So I want the liquidity flush. I'm watching to see if $83,000 holds or breaks. I'm going to be buying the next area that I'm going to be buying at, which is I'm probably going to buy another 0.002 because I have 202. So the next area that I'm going to buy, I'm going to double down and buy 202. So I'll have 204. Would be 70,000. So that's like $140. So that's the next area that I'm going to be buying Bitcoin. So that's my target. And then on the upside, basically, if we're still bullish, the next leg up is 136 to 148. So that's the ideal. So theoretically, this is the ideal reset before the real parabolic phase if we get one. So, all right. So, in my opinion, Bitcoin isn't crashing. It's resetting. This is exactly what the chart was supposed to do. And if you're a long-term investor or a swing trader, this is exactly the move that you want to see before the next wave of the bull run. Now, for traders, like we mentioned earlier in this video, you already took profits at 10%. To play conservatively, but there's still a lot of upside potential here, and the RSI is still sitting at extremely oversold. So, anyways, if you found this breakdown helpful, please smash the like button, subscribe, and drop a comment, and let me know where you think Bitcoin is headed next. Do you think we're going to break 91,000, or do you think that we're going to go back down and retest 83,000 before either moving up from there or going back down to 70? So. I appreciate it. Now, really quick before I leave, let's look at the Bitcoin dominance. The Bitcoin dominance, yeah, it's still not doing really anything. For alt season to start, in my opinion, we do need to see Bitcoin dominance below 54%. You can see we are still using 58% as support. So what I don't want to see is Bitcoin dominance rising over 58% from here. What I really want to see is Bitcoin dominance basically in this downtrend and or even sideways before a capitulation down. So we might be here right now where we put in this high and now we're basically about to break down. But what I want to see is Bitcoin price stay the same and Bitcoin dominance drop while Ethereum and altcoins pump. But if Bitcoin dominance drops with Bitcoin price, that is going to take all the altcoins and even Ethereum back down with it. So it's really important to note that what you really want to see is consolidation, sideways action, Bitcoin dominance drop, and then Ethereum pump, and then eventually money rotation into altcoins, which is where we get alt season, which is what we've been waiting for this entire time, but we never got. So. That's pretty much it. Again, none of this is financial advice. It is all just my opinion. Please like, subscribe, comment where you think Bitcoin is headed next. I really do appreciate all the support. Please help me in my journey to accumulate 1 Bitcoin. I am clearly 2 1,000ths away I am only 2 1,000ths into my 1 Bitcoin journey. So yeah, I would greatly appreciate a subscribe, and if you could like and comment, that way my video could get more views, and basically we can, keep you updated on buying Bitcoin, giving you my thoughts on where I'm buying Bitcoin and my analysis. So thank you so much. Have a great Thanksgiving week. Have a great day, and I'll catch everybody in the next video.